Hey, what's up? What's up? It's your girl Erica, and thanks for tuning into my YouTube channel. Thanks for stopping by. I am so happy to be here. Happy Saturday. I am here to do a review of Belle Collective. Before we get started on that, I just want to say that it's been a while since I've been down here in the YouTube streets. I know that I've been, in the past I had probably been reviewing maybe one or two shows per week. However, some of the shows that I normally reviewed and some of the shows that you were normally, or my reviews that you were normally watching, those particular shows have not been on. I did say I was going to review Salt Lake City, but I'm not even sure if my subscribers actually watch Salt Lake City. So I did one review of that show and it just didn't seem like, sort of like gained any traction, so to speak. So I said I wasn't going to do that, but I am glad to be here with you. I've been kind of, just to be transparent, I have been kind of MIA after, I think, 18, almost 19 years of working at one job. I was actually laid off from my job. And I'm not saying that to, gain any sympathy or anything like that, but I'm just saying, it's been a lot going on. Not to mention that a lot of shows just aren't really happening right now. Love and Marriage Huntsville is on hiatus right now. I know that Potomac is coming back. I am going to do Potomac, and I will also do Married to Medicine, one of my favorite shows when it comes back. So I will do that, but I have been just kind of like laying low a little bit in recent times, but I'm glad that you're here with me, and I hope you hang in there with me as I actually record Belle Collective. This is a show, now I'm being honest with you guys, this is a show that I've been watching from the beginning. I just wasn't reviewing shows at that time. There are a lot of people that I know reviewed Belle Collective. Like, I always watch LTV Productions, Rodney the Voice, and some of the others, and I would just make comments on their shows. I wasn't actually reviewing the show, but I decided for season 6 that I would actually do my own videos and review the actual episodes. Although I'm still going to tune into all of my favorite YouTubers, I'm still going to tune in and leave comments on their page and sort of interact with them, but I just wanted to do it for myself as well. So I hope you guys get on this ride with me. Now, again, Belle Collective is like one of those shows. I know a lot of people love the Love and Marriage Huntsville franchise, or that particular franchise with Detroit, DC. I don't know if you've watched Belle Collective. I hope that most of you have tuned into Belle Collective, because if you haven't, I'm telling you, you're missing out. Belle Collective is that girl. It's one of those shows, like I said, it's kind of like a sleeper pick. People wouldn't think that it would be that good, but it is actually one of the absolute best shows on the OWN TV network. So let's get started. Like I said, season 6 has begun. The Belles are back. This was episode 1, and it was called Harpo, Who This Woman? So let's get it started. The opening scene was actually with Latrice and Marie. As you know, Latrice and Marie are OGs of the show. They've been there since season 1, but Latrice and Marie have always sort of clashed. They've butted heads in the past. They're not the best of friends. They haven't really gotten along that well in the past, but they're trying to, they sort of turned over a new leaf, and they're trying to like get better and just try to, get it together and sort of, I guess, give us something different. I guess they're probably tired of fighting, and we're actually tired of kind of seeing them clash and go back and forth. But anyway, so Marie pulls up at Latrice's business. Of course, we know Latrice has her business like Goddess Lengths. She's been into like the hair business for a very long time. Well, now she has a new business, and there's actually like a drive-through where you can come up and order your hair. And we see Marie in the drive-through of Latrice's business, which I thought was really, really cute. I would love to. I have some family in Mississippi. My father's roots are from New Orleans, and my father's from New Orleans, but his family grew up in Mississippi, and so I do have roots there, but I have not been to Mississippi in, oh my God, probably since I was probably a little girl. I'm now almost 50 years old, and I probably haven't been there in probably at least 35 to 40 years. But anyway, just to Mississippi though. But I would love to see like how that works, like just to have a drive-through where you can go and pick up a wig, and how do they do that? But anyway, I just thought it was a really cute business. Marie decides to, she asks one of the ladies that was actually working the window. She asked her, was Latrice there? Latrice was there. Of course, they set it up. Marie parks her car, goes in. Latrice and Marie start having a conversation. They're hitting it off. They seem to be getting along very well. It seems to be genuine. I think, like I said, they wanted to turn over a new leaf. They just have normal general conversation, about what's going on. It seems that Marie has had a little more surgery. She called her BBL Marie. But it was like a joke. There was nothing really bad, or Marie didn't seem to be offended at all. I think Marie actually asked, Latrice, had she spoken to Letitia? She said her and Letitia are in a pretty good place, with Glenn coming to her Latrice's restaurant Taste all the time. She said they're doing pretty well. She said that their friendship has sort of taken a back, sort of like a back, it's on a back burner for now. It's sort of taking a back seat because she's super duper busy, but she said that they're in a good place. Marie tells Latrice that she's going to have a 45th birthday party. Hold on just one second, guys, because I just want to, I'm sorry. I just wanted to get some water. Please, and if you see my eyes, they look a little red. I totally understand. I know my eyeliner is like running. I have the worst allergies right now. I just had a sneezing fit before I got on here, but I just wanted to let you know about that in case I looked a little crazy in the eyes. I'm not crying, just my allergies. But anyway, Latrice, like I said, I'm sorry, Marie says that she's having a birthday party, and she invited Latrice. And, Marie said that she's having a 45th birthday bash. And I was like, what? 45? And please, no, guys, this has nothing to do with age shaming. I'm not an ageist at all. As a matter of fact, I'm 48, so I'm not criticizing Marie at all. I just thought that Marie was a little older. I didn't think that Marie was only 45 years old. I just assumed that Marie was in her 50s. I know she has older children and stuff like that, but it just seems like she carries herself like she would be a woman in her early 50s. So I was really shocked when Marie said that she was celebrating her 45th birthday, but that's just me. So that was pretty much the end of their scene. Kudos to them for turning over that new leaf, like I said, and we'll see how it goes throughout the rest of the season with them. So then we see Letitia and Glenn. Letitia and Glenn, they seem to be doing well. It's only episode 1. They were trying to definitely put their marriage back on track. I know the past couple of years we've seen them have a few snags, but again, they're working through, those bumpy roads, and they're sort of being able to sort of skid around them and get around them, but they seem to be doing well. Letitia set up something really romantic for Glenn. He came in the house, and apparently, she had a massage table out with the candles lit, roses, just a nice little romantic scene. These are things that women do for their man or their husband or whomever when they're really in love. And so that was nothing new or out of the ordinary, I guess, for a woman to do. Letitia says she's in her soft girl era. She says that when Glenn is, I guess, attentive and he's being kind to her, then it makes her want to be more feminine and to just sort of let out how she really feels or express her feelings. And I could get with that. I understood exactly where Letitia was coming from. That's for any woman. When you're in a relationship and when you're in a healthy relationship, you tend to, women give anyway. I would say, of course, there's always an exception to the rule. There are some women who are very selfish, but for the most part, women are very loving and very nurturing. It's just our nature. And especially when we're in a healthy relationship and things are going well and we know that we're getting what we need, it is absolutely nothing for us to give 1000% to that relationship. And we want to make our spouse, we want to make our significant other feel special. So I understood exactly what Letitia was doing, but we've already heard that there's some little things going on. There's some things that were said in the end of the episode. So it makes me believe that Letitia and Glenn won't necessarily end up on a good note by the end of this season. So then we see Marie with, they go to another scene with Marie, and Marie is now back with her ex-husband Cedric. Now, if you guys remember in the beginning of this show, Marie was with Cedric. They were having issues. Cedric was cheating on her. He was running around. She was trying to take care of him, take care of her mom, take care of her kids. There was so much going on. I think one of her sons lost uh his son or daughter's mother. She had gotten murdered. It was just a lot going on. But then Cedric was just out running the streets. Well, now Marie and Cedric are seem to be back together, or they're trying to work on their marriage. I don't think they ever got divorced. But again, he's back in the picture. Also, this was like a little side note, because you know, guys, I take notes all the time. I was just saying that it seems like Marie downsized a little bit. I don't want to say that there's an issue or financial issue. I'm not saying that, but Marie had a really big house. You know, we would always see her with like luxury vehicles. She seems to have downsized. Now, I do remember last season, if I'm not mistaken, Marie was saying that there were some threats that sort of people were sort of threatening her in some sort of way, and I think perhaps she moved out of that house. Maybe she has another home, but they're just sort of renting this out to film in. But it does seem, or it appears to be, that there is, like I said, a downgrade. Again, it may not be a downgrade at all. It just may be the fact that Marie doesn't want to show exactly where she actually lives. They all may do that. Letitia may actually do the same thing, because I saw their home, and it seems like they keep switching up as to where they actually live as well. So maybe they just don't want to show their actual homes. I mean, hey, they can do it, you know, they can do it too. If the Kardashians can do it, certainly, you know, the Belles can do it as well. But, you know, they were talking about their marriage. My opinion, I don't know about Cedric. I don't know. It just seems like Cedric has fallen on hard times. Maybe his money has ran a little low, and now he's back and he wants to get back with Marie. Marie seems to be very accepting of Cedric. I think she always wanted her marriage, so there's nothing wrong with that. But I just don't know where Cedric really is, and I don't know if this is going to actually be a good thing for Marie in the end. But again, Marie is a grown woman. She can do what she wants to do. Marie even had another friend, and we will talk more about him at the end of the review. She was dating someone else. I don't think it was anything super duper serious, but she was talking to someone else. And you know, Cedric knows that she's having a birthday party. I don't think Marie said that he wasn't invited, but Cedric definitely said that he wants to be there for Marie, so he's going to actually support her, and we will see how that goes. We know Marie and Cedric have a daughter together. She looks like she's a teenager now, Zuri. But again, like I said, my good eyes on Cedric, because like I said, to me, I think Cedric's brother passed away, and I'm sorry, very sorry to hear that. But like I said, to me, it just seems like Cedric is coming around, because now he's falling on hard times, and I don't think he's, you know, it just seems like now he wants to get back with Marie, and I don't like that. If it's genuine, cool, but if it's not, cut. So anyway, we move on. We see Selena. Selena is now a Belle. We know Selena from back in the day on, she had, you know, her daughters were the stars of a show back in the day. I can't think of the name of the show, but they were on the team, the Dancing Dolls team. And so I know them from back in the day, because I used to watch that show faithfully. But Selena is now a Belle. Of course, Akeisha Holly Cologne, and Gucci, Miss Gucci, they're gone. You know, they're no longer part of the cast. But Selena is now a Belle. And so we hear, you know, she was sort of introducing us to what's been going on with her. So we catch up. Selena's been having some issues. We know that her son passed away, but then she was also in an accident. I think she's also had some other health complications. She was actually supposed to be like the head bartender at Latrice's restaurant Taste, but I guess because of her health issues and all of that, she hasn't really been able to get up on her feet. We also know that Selena is engaged. She's engaged to this guy named Mike. They've been together for some time. They normally spend, Mike does have his own home, but they normally spend all of their time at Selena's house. And I guess it's kind of like a safety net or safe space for her, especially since, she's gone through so much and so much loss over the past few years. Selena did talk to Mike. They had I would say they had a pretty serious conversation. Selena mentioned to Mike that he bought some type of truck for his business. I'm not sure exactly what he does. I don't know if he's a truck driver or if he just has a business where they do have other drivers, but he bought a truck. Selena feels like, if I have advanced from just being a girlfriend to now your fiance, I think that these are things that you should talk to me about. You never mentioned it because we're in the process of planning a wedding, planning our lives together, and here you are making purchases and you're not saying anything. And she says to her, that's like a sign that their communication is not the best. She said in the past he bought a boat, he pulled up with a boat at the house, and she knew nothing about it. So again, Mike just seems to have a pattern of doing this. Mike told Selena that he didn't mention it because he wanted to see how things went before he mentioned it. Well, we know that sometimes that happens. Sometimes men will hide things, and they'll tell you later on down the road. But again, if two are becoming one and you're going to get married, communication is very, 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 very important. So I think that is kind of like a red flag. Is it a reason not to get married? I wouldn't say we have to go that far, but again, we will see as the season goes on how this really plays out, because again, we're just sort of being introduced to Selena and Mike, so we don't know their full story, but the little snippet that we heard, there are some issues that need to be addressed. So we move on. And then we see Latrice. Latrice is at the restaurant. She's at Taste. We all know that Latrice is a serial entrepreneur, and so is her husband, Cliff. I call Cliff a Neanderthal. I think that Cliff is like the quintessential Southern man, like when you're married to an older man who wants to sort of tell you what to do. Like, it's like, do as I say, but not as I do. Cliff is that guy, and I call him a Neanderthal. It's like whatever area they live in, if all the men are like that, then I'm sorry, they need to quarantine them and just lock them away and put them away like in the woods, because it just doesn't work for me. But Latrice and Cliff are business partners in Taste. Latrice says that Cliff now wants to build condos on top of the restaurant. Now, the restaurant is doing well from what Latrice and Cliff told us. They're introducing new menu items. It seems to be doing well. It seems to be a really nice establishment, but now Cliff wants to add condos to the upper level of the restaurant. And to me, the only thing that means to me is that sounds like hookup spot. So it sounds like you can come meet somebody there at the restaurant, and then you head upstairs if you want to just have a one night stand or hook up or whatever the case may be. Because if these are not condos that people are going to buy, it doesn't really make sense. Like, to me, it's just like a hotel room. It doesn't sound like a person would purchase this condo and live there forever, and this would be something that they own. It just sounds like, again, it's like a hookup spot. And, Cliff is trying to justify it his own way, as he normally does. Cliff has always been the money man. I know that he's put a lot of money into Latrice and her businesses. I'm not saying that Latrice doesn't have her own money, but you can just tell that Cliff has also put up a lot of his money to support Latrice. And so Cliff always is going to feel like he can do exactly what he wants to do, when he wants to do it, and how he wants to do it. In fact, Latrice was calling him to the carpet because she was saying that now that he's trying to build these condos, she asked him how long it would take. He said about 3 weeks, but she said that now he's not even coming home. He's starting to stay at the condo. So that's a little, that behavior is questionable. And if you remember last year, Latrice and Cliff seemed to be having some marital issues. I know Cliff wanted Latrice to have a baby. It really doesn't seem like Latrice wanted to have children. I think Latrice is one of those women, she likes being married, but she doesn't want to have children of her own. And then it seems like there was a little bit of abuse that we were starting to see. They tried to sort of sweep it under the rug, but there was Latrice, her demeanor and everything last season was very, very questionable, and she was moving and she almost sounded and even looked like a woman who was being abused. But again, they could be back on track. Again, they're going to say or make it appear as if everything is back on track and everything is okay this season. But Latrice says she doesn't like the fact that he's staying at the condos, and no woman would. Latrice said there's a lot of traffic, from women just coming in and out of the restaurant. And she doesn't like perhaps the interaction of Cliff with some of the women that are perhaps coming to their restaurant taste. So we will see how that goes as time goes on. Well, we get to, and they're also introducing, let me just say, they're also introducing Latrice's friend Amanda, who she calls Mandy. She went to high school with Mandy. I don't know if Mandy's going to be a friend of the show, but Mandy is very, very vocal in her feelings, and I'll get to that at the end. But it seems like Amanda was also, she just went through a divorce, and so she's trying to sort of find her footing and just sort of getting back out into the dating world and all of those things. So the girls show up at Marie's party. We see them, all coming in. We're introduced to the new girl, Carrie. Now, Letitia had already mentioned to Glenn that she wants to bring Carrie into the group. Carrie is a serial entrepreneur herself. She owns 3 restaurants. She is a wife and a mom, but she says she owns 3 restaurants. Her husband is a sports agent, so we see that they have a pretty decent life, or they're doing pretty well for themselves. At this particular, while they're waiting for Marie to show up, we see Essie there. We see Marie's husband, Cedric there. Letitia comes in. We see Selena. I think Selena and Mike arrive first. Selena and Mike, again, like I said, their communication issues are sort of spilling out at this point. Selena was saying that Mike was going out of town and he never mentioned it to her, and she was saying that that's one of the things that bothers her. He's saying he told her, she's saying you did not tell me. Either way, there is an issue and a problem with whatever is going on with their particular relationship. Letitia even mentioned it to Letitia. She said, I don't want to go into this marriage having communication issues, and if so, then maybe we need to sort of call off the wedding. So I think Letitia will kind of be a sounding board for her in that. Like I said, we will see as the season goes on. It's just episode 1, guys. Trust me, there was a lot going on in this episode, but we will see. They gave us enough to build on in episode 1. Tambra shows up. I would love to see Tambra's little baby. We haven't seen her. We've seen her little toes and her little legs and her little hands, but we've never seen Tambra's baby. And I would like to know what's going on with Tambra. I would like to know if Damon is still around. Damon was the father of the baby. I don't know if he and Tambra are no longer together or what's going on, but she showed up to the party. That was pretty much it as far as her. We didn't get any backstory from Tambra. She was in the scenes, but nothing or no new information from her. I know Selena asked her about the baby and stuff like that, and Tambra said, yeah, I've been busy, I'm doing me, I have the baby and just being a working mom and all of that. So again, we see Carrie. Carrie has a very outgoing personality. She's very vocal. In a group, and when you're in a new group, we're not sure how that works. Sometimes it could work to your advantage, and then sometimes it could work to your disadvantage because you may be coming across too pushy or you're too opinionated in the beginning. There's nothing wrong with having an opinion, but get to know the ladies first. So like I said, the jury's still out on Carrie. So the talk of the night, like I said, once the ladies all arrived, Latrice and her husband didn't come, but the talk of the night was Marie shows up. Marie, again, her husband or ex-husband or whatever she wants to call him, Cedric is there. And let me retract the statement. I'm not sure if her and Cedric actually got the divorce. They could have. I'm just not remembering whether they got a divorce. But I know they weren't together anymore. But anyway, Cedric is there. And then Marie was actually talking to a guy by the name of Martin. And guess what, guys? Martin is a white guy. He's German. He and Marie have been seeing each other for a while. He shows up to this party and everybody is stunned because they knew that she was talking to a guy, Martin, but I don't think that everyone knew exactly what he looked like. Now, I'm not sure if you guys have watched Summer House Martha's Vineyard. If you did, there was a young lady, a cast member on that show. Her name was Bria, and she was dating a German guy by the name of Simon. Martin kind of reminds me of Simon a little bit. So if you know that show, if you know, then you know. But if not, again, Martin is a German guy. He's there. He sort of sticks out like a sore thumb. And so everybody's sort of whispering and wondering who he is. So Marie's trying to play into both of them because she has two men there on the same night. You can see that Cedric's uncomfortable. Martin is a little uncomfortable. And I think because Marie says they know about each other, like Martin knows about Cedric knows about Martin, but I don't think they know the extent of the relationship that Marie has with both of them. Like, so Cedric doesn't fully know about Marie's relationship with Martin, and Martin doesn't fully know the extent of how Cedric is trying to come back into Marie's life. So it's just kind of like she's divided. She's sort of being pulled in both directions. I believe that Marie is definitely going to swing her pendulum towards Cedric. I think Martin is just something she did like in the meantime. But again, we will see. Letitia and Carrie have a conversation with Martin says that he's been married. He does have children, and the children have gone back with their mom to Germany. It comes out that is his ex-wife or soon to be ex-wife. They are separated, and that's a topic of conversation. I guess a lot of people have the question of should you date while you're in the process of getting a divorce. Now, let's be clear. I don't judge anybody who does. I know that it is best to sort of finish out one thing or close one chapter of your life. However, the average person, I'm not stupid, the average person is dating someone. Now, granted, you may not be dating in public wherein you're not on television. These people are on television. So, of course, it's being discussed and talked about. But if you were just the random, normal, everyday person, you could be dating someone and people would never know that you're dating. So that's just kind of like the way I look at it. Most people who are separated or who have gone through a separation and really are in the process of getting a divorce, they are dating someone else. Carrie had very strong feelings about it because Carrie was saying that he's still married. So Marie was like, Harpo, who this woman? Because Marie is now already being challenged and she's already being asked questions about it. And for the first time, Marie was kind of stumped. She really didn't even want to talk about it because Carrie kind of put her on the spot, asking her about Martin being married. So there's a lot more to come with this season. All I can say, guys, is stay tuned because we're going to be in for a ride. The actual last scene of the night, we see Latrice go to her friend Mandy's hair salon, or it's actually where Mandy works. I'm not sure if she actually owns it or again if she just works there. Well, anyway, they were, she was sort of, tacking down Latrice's wig, and that's fine. So they're talking. Tambra comes in. Tambra and Latrice have become like really good friends as well. They're talking. Tambra was trying to fill them in on what happened at Marie's birthday party. Tambra was telling them about, Marie's two men. And then, they happened to ask something about, Tambra said something about Letitia. Well, Amanda got in the conversation and said she likes Marie. Oh, they were talking about Marie. So Amanda said she can deal with Marie because you know what you're getting. But with Letitia, she throws the rock and hides her hand. She doesn't like the way Letitia moves. So again, they're introducing this new friend of the show who has a lot to say about Letitia, and of course that's going to cause a problem with Latrice and Letitia. Then Amanda goes on to say that Glendale Letitia's husband has been flirting with her and that they've had some sort of interaction. How deep it's been, we don't know. Amanda just dropped that little nugget in our lap. She wanted to let us know that, hey, all is not well in the Pearson household. That's what she wanted to do. She dropped that little bomb. You know, of course, Latrice already knew about it, but of course, Latrice is going to play it off. Tambra, you know, was kind of like playing it off as well. You know, I didn't like that Amanda was saying, you know, of course, you know, we see what Letitia looks like. Like, why would he not be, why wouldn't you think that he would talk to someone else? Well, like I said, that lets me know that Amanda really doesn't like Letitia. So again, it makes it look like, okay, are you trying to talk to Glenn because you don't like Letitia? Or was it very innocent where he just approached you and said something to you? Or are you sort of embellishing and making this up because, again, you have beef with Letitia? So that was the episode, guys. Like I said, stay tuned. Hang in there with me. I am going to do this entire season. I'm all in. I'm interested to see where it goes. It started off, it was a great season opener, and yeah, let's hang in there and see what happens. Tell me what you think, guys. What do you think? How do you think this season is going to go? What are your feelings about what I just told you? You know, do you think that Glendale actually tried to talk to Amanda? I hope you've seen the episode, but if you haven't, I hope I've given you enough where you can kind of understand what's going on. But if you did, let me know what you think. How do you think it's going to go? Do you think Latrice already knew about what was going on? And how do you feel about her? Should she tell Letitia, or should she sort of stand back and let it be? Let me know what you think. Do you think Marie, you know, should just move on without Cedric and see whomever else? Or should she get back, you know, with Cedric? Tell me what you think about Selena. How do you feel about Selena and Mike? Do you feel like there's some communication issues, or is there something, you know, lying beneath the surface that's getting ready to come out, and these, you know, they may go Splitsville? Let me know what you think. Like I said, I would love to hear your opinion. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to, leave me a comment. I am one that I'm so used to leaving comments on people's page, whether they comment or they write me back or not, or reply back or not. But if you want to leave me a comment, please feel free to do so. Just be respectful, but I will definitely respond to you and reply. I appreciate each and every one of you for watching and hanging there with me, guys. Stay tuned, and I will see you. Actually, I'll probably be filming on Monday, because I am going to record a video for the Real Housewives of Potomac. Last year, I didn't like their season at all, but I'm going to try to tune in for this particular season, and I do plan to review that. So I will see you soon, guys. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your day. And again, I will see you soon. Bye.